One of the conversations we had when we both had babies about the same age, and you just like boom, 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 4, and I had 3. But I remember us talking about, and you recognizing and us knowing there was the call of God on your life, but there was a season that we, stayed with those babies. I mean, and you really didn't travel. You raised those, and it felt like it was an eternity. But I mean, look at now. I mean, and that's one of the things you have to talk to young mothers about are those seasons, don't you?
Well, I think the right thing in the wrong season becomes the wrong thing. And so I did have to tell these young women, I remember getting invited to speak at the Hillsong Color Your World Conference, and it was for 2006. And Bobby called me, and I was like super honored, but then I looked, and it was during my kids' spring break. And so I said, I am so sorry. Would you consider me for 2007? And John came home, and he's like, you said no to Bobby Houston. You've lost your mind. And I said, no. Because he said, we'll just go with you. And I said, no. Then I'll either be ignoring my children while I'm at this women's conference, or I will not be everything I need to be for the women's conference because I'm there with my kids. And I think sometimes we get this message that if I don't take everything and grab it right now, it's not going to be in my next season. But I think we have to get the lessons of that season and grow in strength. And actually, Bobby said, I found out later that she turned to her friend and said, good, she really believes what she says. And she said, I respect that. And then I got to come back and, the truth is we have life, and life is a time test. 0 to 30, we are learning and growing. 30 to 60, we're building. 60 and up, we impart.
Yeah.
We create pathways.
Yeah.
We turn around, we look at the Rebeccas, we look at the Kendras, and we say, this is what I learned the hard way. I don't want you to have to make the same mistakes. And so we open up the treasury of our life. Like you said, if you'd had somebody who could have poured certain things into your life. And so you don't have to know everything. You just need to know more than the person you're pouring into. And you could even be younger than the person you're pouring. It's about spiritual maturity. So you find someone ahead of you on the pathway. So I remember thinking, okay, I'm not gonna do anything like my mom. So I knew what I didn't wanna do. I didn't know what I wanted to do. And I remember seeing this one mother of 5 kids, and her kids were all, like, they were fun, they weren't scared, they weren't awkward, they were athletic. And I said, how did you raise your kids? Tell me. And I didn't say, sit down and do a 13-week study with me. I said, I'm gonna come alongside your life. I'm gonna ask you questions. I think we need to make it organic. And I think we've made so many things uncomfortable that we miss moments. Even God, when he talked about imparting the faithfulness, the legacy, he said, when you walk with your children, when you're eating. And I think we've made it so inorganic, it's hard to connect, and people are intimidated. I don't have anything to give. I'm like, have you made mistakes? Yes. Give that. Redeem it.
What did she say to you?
So she told me a couple things. First and foremost, your baby has no idea you don't know what you're doing. So you need to relax, because he will take cues off of your nervousness. So you just need to say, God gifted me to have this child, I'll do that. And then she also said, you never say no more than one time. So she said, you give very clear directions, and you don't say no, 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 no. Also, she said, don't count, because that trains children to have delayed, obedience. And she said, when it's a safety issue, you don't want to say 1, 2, 3 when they have their finger in an outlet. Like, you have to train them to obey right away. So that was, that was just some of the things that were really practical. And I just watched how she interacted. I grew up in a household where there was screaming and yelling and throwing and threats, and that was not what I wanted to replicate in our lives. And so I had to have somebody else that was ahead of me.